welcome to another episode of The Word for Kids. I'm Jamie and I'm guiding you through the books of Joshua, Judges, and Ruth in a series of 20 episodes. Last time, we learned about how Joshua and the army marched around Jericho once a day for 6 days. On the seventh day, they marched around it 7 times, blasted the trumpets, and shouted, and the walls of Jericho fell. The people rushed in and took the city. But the spies found Rahab and her family and brought them to safety as they had promised. They devoted the city to the Lord, and Joshua became even more famous among the people. And that's where we left off last time. Are you ready for today's adventure? Let's go! In the last part of the story, we learned that the Lord told the Israelites to destroy all of the devoted things, including gold, silver, and iron, to show that they were giving the city over to God. They were not to keep any of the devoted things for themselves, but guess what? The Israelites were unfaithful and did not fully give everything over to the Lord. A man named Achan from the tribe of Judah took some of the devoted things, and because of this, the Lord's anger burned against Israel. Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai to spy out the land. After they had spied out the land and returned to Joshua, they said, "Not all the army will have to go up against Ai." So about 3,000 went up, but they were routed by the men of Ai. This means the Israelites had to flee in chaos because they were being defeated by the men of Ai. About 36 Israelites died. At this, Joshua and the elders tore their clothes and fell face down before the ark of the Lord until evening. Joshua said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant. What can I say? Now that Israel has been routed by its enemies, the Canaanites and the other people of the country will hear about this and will surround us and wipe out our name from the earth. What then will you do for your own great name?" But the Lord said to Joshua, "Stand up. What are you doing down on your face? Israel has sinned. They have violated my covenant. They have taken some of the devoted things. They have stolen and they have lied. That is why the Israelites cannot stand against their enemies. I will not be with you any more unless you destroy whatever among you is devoted to destruction." Because someone had taken the devoted things for themselves and was not following God's commands, all of Israel was suffering. Then the Lord told Joshua, "In the morning, present yourselves tribe by tribe, and the family the Lord chooses shall come forward man by man. Whoever is caught with the devoted things will be destroyed by fire." While this punishment may seem extreme for stealing, it was something that the Lord had already set up in the law. The people knew the consequence for keeping the devoted things was death. Well, the tribes came forward, and when it was time for the tribe of Judah, Achan was chosen. Joshua told Achan to give glory to the Lord, tell what he had done, and not hide anything from him. And Achan confessed his sin. "It is true, I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel." Achan had seen a robe, silver, and gold. He coveted these things and took them. Then he hid them in the ground inside his tent. Let's pause right there for today's word of the day.
The word of the day is covet. Yearn to possess or have, to be consumed with desire for, to crave, to have one's heart set on, to want, to wish for, to long for, to yearn for, and to dream of. Covet.
Okay, so Achan confessed to taking the devoted things and hiding them in his tent. So Joshua sent messengers who ran to the tent, and sure enough, there they found the things Achan had stolen. Joshua took all of the things Achan had stolen to the valley of Achor, along with his family and all of his possessions, which are the things that he owned. All of the Israelites stoned him and his family, and they were burned. They heaped up a pile of large rocks over them, and then the Lord turned away from his fierce anger towards the Israelites. Because Achan had sinned against the Lord and had not done what he knew was right, his family and his community were punished. The 36 soldiers who went to fight Ai were killed, and ultimately he and his family were destroyed. The pile of rocks was there as a reminder to the rest of the Israelites that following God's law was to be taken seriously. And that's where our story ends for today. Now it's time for the verse to remember. Today's verse is Proverbs 14:12. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. One more time. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Until we meet again, think about some things you may struggle with coveting. Are there things in your life that you want so badly you're willing to disobey God to get to them? If so, ask God to help you give yourself fully to Him. That's all the time we have for this episode. I can't wait to see you again soon for another episode of The Word for Kids.